This is Grad Live.
We have all of the different segments within the cotton.
The show that explores what it's really like to work in the ag industry.
So making sure that we get policy and regulatory issues
straight from the people who live it every day. Hey, we're back with Grad Live. This is the show where we get to talk to the people who are really in the trenches of various careers in agriculture and learn about what they do beyond just what's on a job description or an online job posting, and really understand, what life's like, how they got the job, some of the challenges that they've had to overcome in order to find success in their industry, and just what it's like, so that if you are considering a career in agriculture, you can have a better idea of what life might be like if you were in a position like this. Had a couple questions in recent weeks about AgGrad, like what exactly is this AgGrad thing? So I get AgGrad Live, yeah, you're talking to people, but what is this AgGrad thing? And really our whole mission is to help people find their place in modern agriculture. So any resources we could provide that helps people, young or old, mid-career, early career, however, any resources we can provide that helps people find their place in modern agriculture, that's what we're about. And have a really exciting guest here today. Get a lot of people who wonder about marketing, because everybody has their own idea about what marketing is and what it's like, and are there marketing jobs in agriculture? And there certainly are. We have Meg Bennett here. She's a marketing coordinator for Cargill Premix and Nutrition, is going to join. So Meg, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Tim.
So this is really cool. Like I was just saying, I get a lot of questions about marketing. If you could, maybe before we get into the marketing stuff even, tell us about Cargill Premix and Nutrition. What exactly do you all do?
Sure. So I get to work for our U.S. Business segment that we coin as CPN. I'm based out of our Brookville office, and what we get to do every day is really help meat, milk, and egg producers provide food for our consumers. It's a noble cause. Specifically what that looks like for us. So we do a lot of nutrition expertise, both for producers and feed manufacturers. So we're providing on-farm support. We're looking at very scientific, very technology-driven data to help our customers make sure their rations are the right amounts, that their livestock are growing the way they'd like, and that they're meeting their business goals. For me personally, most of my day-to-day goes with our dairy team here at CPN, but we also support both our swine and poultry businesses as well. Okay, so when you say you're working with the dairy team and you're supporting those businesses, what's that look like in kind of real life situation? What are you doing day to day? Sure. Well, the easiest thing to say about it is it changes day to day, which is what I like about my job. But it can range from, I come in, I do have a desk here at the Brookville office. I also do a little bit of remote work from my home, but Skype meetings, looking at strategy, handling emails, those are all part of the job. But other things I get to do, I get to go out in the field. Some of my job includes getting to help with some videography, getting to meet our customers, do interviews. Other parts of my day sometimes can consist of writing stories, writing press releases, which is kind of where I got my start in AgCom. But I think that's what I enjoy about my job. It requires me to both be able to be at a desk, to manage emails, to manage internal communications and projects with my coworkers, but it also allows me to get out in the field and to meet the people who matter most in agriculture. Cool. And where did you major in AgCom? Where'd you go to school? Yeah, I went to The Ohio State University, so go Bucks. Okay, all right, enough of that now. No, I did major in AgCom there, though. Okay. And so did you know at that point you wanted to go into marketing? Yeah, well, not necessarily marketing. I knew AgCom my senior year of high school. I always enjoyed writing, actually, since I was probably about 10 years old. And then if you had asked me, I probably would have been an English teacher. But working in ag, growing up on the family farm, I realized midway through high school that people didn't always have the interactions with ag that I did, in the sense of being positive. And so I wanted to be a voice for that, and kind of found my fit in AgCom at Ohio State. But when I originally was a freshman, I thought I would probably be maybe an editor of a publication, a magazine, something like that. It was my sophomore year of college. I had an internship with Beck's Hybrids, and got to work with their marketing team and find out what that meant. And I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with the workflow, not everything's the same every day. I fell in love with being able to tell the story of a company and an industry that I loved. And it just kind of all happened from there. But I give a lot of credit to the internships that I had back in college to kind of find my fit with marketing.
Very cool. Yeah, no, we are all about the internships for sure at Grad. It's a big thing that we push. We've had people on the show before that have been in sales. A few guests have been in sales. You're in marketing. For somebody who hasn't been in that realm of marketing and sales, could you kind of give us a little bit of a rundown on the differences between if you were in sales versus the fact that you're in marketing?
Sure. So first off, I think what I'll say is they go hand in hand. Your sales team and your marketing team, in order to be successful, that working relationship and what you do for your company, it's important. And when I look at my job, I try every day to help support our sales team. They're out in the field, they're working with customers. They're not only, we're looking at sales, but more importantly here at CPN, we're working to make the right decisions for our customers. And knowing that and knowing what they do, that allows us in the marketing department, we're giving them the tools they can use in the field. So when I talked earlier about videos, press releases for PR, so people know who we are when somebody walks on their farm, those type of things, really my job is to help set up the sales team to make a sale. And so any way that we can support our teams in doing that, we do our best to do that. And in turn, that helps our customers as well.
Do you feel like, even though you're marketing to your customer, and for those joining, by the way, if you're joining live, feel free to type a question in the comments and I'll try to get Meg to answer it here in the time we have. So please feel free to join the conversation. But so in your day to day, even though you're marketing, products to farmer customers, do you still feel like you get to sort of advocate for agriculture in what you do?
Oh yeah, and I think earlier I mentioned about kind of what we do, right? I mean, I don't think you can find a more noble cause than getting to work for a company whose primary goal is to help the world thrive and to put nutrition and food on people's tables. And so though it's a little bit different, right? I'm not the farmer necessarily out in the field, but being able to support them, it's a huge thing for me. It helps me to love my job and love what I do.
That's cool. Yeah, no, the deeper meaning is important, especially for those of us. I call myself a millennial, although I'm probably on the bubble. But for us millennials, that's a big deal. I mean, finding work that you can believe in. Take us back to your first day on the job. Tell us about your first day on the job, because I think this is a fun story. All of us can think back to ahead of our first day, like the dread we have about what could go wrong. But tell us about your experience.
Sure. So if any of my teammates are on, I hope they're chuckling along with me as I think back to day one. But I had the opportunity to start with Cargill the first week of World Dairy Expo, which is up in Madison, Wisconsin. So it wasn't this past year, but the year before. I've been with the company a little over a year now. But so exciting week, right? Our whole entire team was up there. I got to meet people who worked both in our office and remote. It was a great place to start our week out. But you have to travel up there, right? I work in Ohio, had to go up to Wisconsin, which in my previous job, have had experience traveling. So to be honest, that part of the first day in my mind, I really wasn't planning on any stress there, but had to fly through O'Hare that day. As if anybody has flown through O'Hare, you might know what I'm talking about when I mention it. But got to Chicago and went to board my next flight onto Madison, which is maybe 20 minutes up in the air, and came across the screen. Our flight was canceled for the day. And they cited due to weather. So I text my now current boss, but at the time, brand new boss, and said, hey, kind of stranded here in Chicago. There's no flights till the next morning. Maybe looking to get a rental car to go up there, but there must be bad weather. And Josh actually lives in Wisconsin. So the message I got back was a picture of a bright, sunshiny day. And he's like, I don't know about weather here. But he said, but as far as getting up here, there is a bus that goes from O'Hare to Madison, Wisconsin. So never had that experience before, but went to the bottom of the airport, caught a bus and met my new team at a bus stop in Madison. And I have a coworker, her and I are very close, and she joked, she's like, I knew if you can make it through that, you can make it through our team. So, but they fed me Red Robin afterwards. So at least I got to eat after the ordeal. Very cool. And how long have you been there now since that first day? Yeah, little over a year. So I started back, October of 2016. Okay. So cool. Yeah. And for those of you just joining us, we're talking to Meg Bennett. She's marketing coordinator for Cargill Premix and Nutrition. And I didn't even ask, Meg, where are you based out of? Yeah, Brookville, Ohio. So close that's right. You said that. Yep. And how far is that from where you grew up? About an hour. So I actually live now closer to the family farm. My fiance and I actually just bought a little mini farm property in the same county. So that's why I have some good flexibility. I technically work out of our Brookville office, but I have the opportunity to work from home too with my career since I've got my computer. So that's made a big difference and just work-life balance and those sorts of things too.
Is that something you knew when you took the job that would be an option for you down the road?
I knew I had to relocate. So my old job was in Columbus. So I knew I was getting back closer to here. But I do know actually the team I work primarily with on the dairy side is all remote. I'm the only one who actually goes into the office on a more regular basis. So having that ability, I knew about it. I also knew I was required to be in the office at the same time too. But for me, being new on the job, that first year, in my opinion, or this past year, it was really crucial to be in the office because I got to interact with people, learn leadership styles, learn tones,
right.
Make my teammates my friends. I mean, that part was really cool. So I feel like I've got the balance kind of best of both worlds when it comes to the location.
Cool. Hey, what is it about marketing? Is there anything where you can point to and you're like, yes, that is why I do what I do. That's why I love my job.
Yeah. Well, there was a couple instances. I think that I'll put it together for me. The most recent one happened with CPN. So mentioned World Dairy.
What is CPN?
Yeah, sorry, Cargill Premix and Nutrition. We talk in acronyms here.
Yeah.
You just have to stop me. But Cargill Premix and Nutrition, which for you guys who are online, so that is who I work for, but we have a go-to-market brand. So how our customers actually see us out in the field is Previmi. So if you've seen that at World Dairy Expo or those sorts of things, that's who I get to work for on a daily basis. But I think what put it together, World Dairy Expo just must be something for me, milestones in my career. But this past year, so the 2017 World Dairy Expo, we had the opportunity as Previmi to sponsor a virtual farm tour with Brian Foust and Fousted Holsteins up from Wausau, Wisconsin. This is something that Previmi traditionally has never done. It was a new opportunity. It was something our team wanted to kind of take on and see how it went. And so Brian is one of our customers. He works really close with one of our guys in the field, Tim Thompson, who is just phenomenal at what he does. And so Brian agreed to do this virtual tour. And essentially at World Dairy Expo, they sponsor or allow companies to sponsor these tours. And Brian in particular talked about his well-doing herd. He's got some really cool things going on with genomics and different things. And for me, we had a lot of pre-work, right? Like we had to logistics, scheduling, working on a video for it, getting a presentation together, interviewing Brian and Wendy and getting to know their family. But when we got to World Dairy Expo, so Brian, I guess let me back up a little bit. Brian agreed to do this because he appreciated everything Tim had done for him. So it wasn't, like he was itching to do some PR work and those sorts of things. Right. He just really appreciated what Previmi did, and he wanted to tell people about
And Tim
it.
is the salesperson who deals directly with him. Is that right?
Yep, okay. That's right. And so Tim got to MC the event. We had Brian up there, and when he started talking about his story, both his family and his relationship with Tim, I was just like, wow, this is why I get to do what I get to do, because it gives people a platform, right? It gives people not only very technical information, some of the interview, but a lot of it was very much that passion, the reason why Brian wanted to get up every morning and do what he does, and why Tim loves working with him on the farm. And I was just like, to be able to facilitate that, to be a part of the team who put that together, that was awesome. Absolutely awesome.
That's really cool. What do you find most challenging about your job?
Yeah, so I have the opportunity here with the Previmi team. I get to work with kind of a cross-generational team. So we have employees, and I have teammates who kind of on the upper end baby boomers, Gen X, down to what they call me a millennial. And so working with them, right, it's a lot of different personalities, but also a lot of different ways to get things done. And I think for me, I work with my phone a lot. There are things that I do maybe different than some of the other generations that work in this office. But I think for me, what I found, so that's an opportunity, right? Like how do we take all these different backgrounds, all these different experiences and make it work on a team.
Right.
What I found in my short time in the industry is that whether it's an idea you come in with or an idea that gets brought up in a meeting, by the time we get out of that meeting or we have the brainstorming after the initial idea, it took everybody in that room, from very tenured employees to some of the newest team members, to make it come to light. And usually even if it was a good idea when we started, by the time we get all those different people together, it's a great idea by the end. And so that's one thing that I've really learned and kind of taken away, is that you work with different people, right? Not only viewpoints and things, but generations. And we're seeing that more in agriculture. But taking the patience, taking the time to learn from your different coworkers and different employees in the office, it's really made a difference in how I approach projects and how I've grown as a young professional.
That's cool. Yeah. And it makes sense too. Like the example you gave about the virtual tour. I mean, if you didn't have, the salespeople didn't have to help you find a farmer and facilitate all that, but you really kind of having that team effort makes a big difference. And I always like that. I like working on teams. It's a lot of fun. What about for those that are watching that are starting their career in agriculture or going to be starting their career in agriculture? What's one piece of career advice that you would give them?
Sure. So I think for me, looking back, is the thing you're most afraid of. And I think a lot of people kind of tie into this, but you have to do it. So for me, I had a great internship at Beck's my sophomore year. Thought I knew all about marketing. I thought that's exactly where I want to be. I loved that team. I loved what I got to do that summer. And I'm like, you know what? I think I should apply for that same internship because it's cool. It's 2.5 hours from where I grew up. I can still be kind of near the family farm. Luckily, I had a supervisor. Her name's Ashley Fisher. And I was kind of telling her about my career plans. I had another opportunity came up pretty close to home too, with a local co-op looking for a marketing intern. And it was both experiences I was looking at was in-house marketing, okay. Which is where a company actually has their own marketing team do all of the marketing work. And so I was just dead set that that's where it was going to be. It was going to be close to home. And Ashley really guided me to say, hey, there are other opportunities, marketing agencies. There's also a benefit to going somewhere you've never went before. Have you looked at a state? And at the time when she said it, I was like, oh, well. No, I don't think that's for me. I've done study abroads, but I get to come back. I just didn't think it was where I wanted to head. And the more I thought about it, though, the more I thought about my entire summer with Beck's and Ashley's advice. And up until that point had really helped me to grow as a young professional. And I'm like, Ashley wouldn't have led me in that direction if she really didn't think it would be beneficial. So the next summer I took an internship actually up in Madison, Wisconsin with a marketing agency called Filament. And it was the scariest thing I've ever done. I'd never been to Wisconsin until I decided to drive 8 hours up there the day before my internship. But it was one of the best decisions because not only did now I got to see in-house marketing with Beck's, I got to see marketing agency, which was eventually my first job. And then I got to come back to in-house marketing with Cargill. So I think for young people, it is really hard to wrap your head around doing something that you absolutely don't think you wanted to do. It's not inside your box. But I'd suggest go for it because now's the time to see those opportunities. And eventually I moved back home, it was where I want to be. But having those relationships, having those experiences, they're priceless while you're in college.
Well said. Yeah, Meg, thank you so much for doing this. That's fantastic and a great place to end and a good message to hopefully everybody is absorbing. I mean, follow those things. Don't let fear be the determining factor of where your career goes and how you spend your career. If people want to get in touch with you and follow up and they say, boy, I want to learn more about marketing or learn more about what's the acronym? Cargill Premix and Nutrition, CPN. What's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, just go ahead and certainly reach out to me on Twitter @OhioAgGirl as well as LinkedIn are the best two ways to get a hold of me.
Okay. Yeah. Ohio Ag Girl on Twitter. Thank you for all those that joined us live here today. It's pretty cool. I hope that you'll continue to join us every week as we have some new guest on that's talking about their career in agriculture and the interesting things they're doing, just like Meg. And the questions that we get from the group and the response from the group is the reason we continue to do this. So if you're interested in learning more about careers in agriculture, you can always check out aggrad.com, but make sure you go follow Ohio Ag Girl on Twitter and have Meg tell you all about the parts of her marketing job that she didn't share with us today. So thank you all for joining us live, and thank you, Meg.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining AgGrad Live. Visit aggrad.com, that's AGGRAD, to join the community, create your profile, and learn more about careers in the agriculture industry.